Tonight on the South Today, as Alexandra's Blossom Festival returns, the first ever Queen remembers her coronation. Dunedin sports grounds are receiving some major funding ahead of next year's FIFA Women's World Cup. And construction workers are checking into Dunedin's blood centre to give a much needed donation. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. The Alexandra Blossom Festival is returning after a few years of COVID disruptions. One of the regular features is crowning a festival queen ahead of the weekend, with the first ever Blossom Festival queen still remembering her coronation quite well.
Flicking through old scrapbooks for a trip down memory lane. It was all the way back in 1957 when 14-year-old Karen Peterson was the first young woman to be crowned Alexandra Blossom Festival Queen.
Oh, it was amazing. Everybody was calling out, give us a wave, and you know, everybody was so excited with it being the first.
She says the floats had to wind their way through the town's then narrow streets, with one of the vehicles coming to grief before the parade really got underway.
And one of the floats went on fire before it even got away. But they put the fire out and it carried on with half its side burnt out.
Now living in Christchurch, Peterson is set to star in this weekend's Alexandra Blossom Festival Parade, alongside some of the other festival queens from over the years. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Around 100,000 young salmon could be heading for the landfill after what the Dunedin Salmon Trust has described as unnecessary regulation. The hatchery at Sawyers Bay is set to close if it can't be sold as a growing concern. A volunteer trust operates the raising area to grow young salmon before they're released into the region's waterways for anglers. But trust members say Ministry for Primary Industries regulations, which require fish to be marked before release, are unworkable for a volunteer-run organisation. The Ministry insists marking fish prior to release is good practice aimed at preserving wild salmon fisheries, with regulations having been in place for 2 years. Some Dunedin sports grounds are set to receive more than $1.5 million in government funding for upgrades ahead of next year's FIFA Women's World Cup. 4 venues across the city are set to benefit from the significant funding boost as part of a nationwide package.
A welcome cash injection. Dunedin sports grounds are to get a few upgrades thanks to new funding from the government ahead of next year's FIFA Women's World Cup.
It's definitely a great thing. I think a lot of people don't actually understand the scope of the tournament, and I think it's going to hit Dunedin a bit unexpectedly, but hopefully with these changes to the facilities people start to get excited and buy into it.
As one of the host cities, Dunedin is receiving a $1.6 million boost, with $8 million going to Auckland venues and $6 million going to the capital. Christchurch gets a smaller grant of $325,000 as it's a team base but not a host. The Dunedin Stadium, Tahuna Park, University No. 6 and Caledonian Ground will benefit from upgrades, including new lighting and facility enhancements, pitch upgrades and gender-neutral changing spaces.
There's provision for lights, there's the changing rooms and the grounds. And at Logan Park 6 it's an improvement in the lights, so it's making sure that there are enough lumens. So if you have a look at the turf lights, these lights will have to be brighter than those they're currently already. The
football tournament is billed as the largest women's sporting event in the world. Dunedin is hosting matches between July and August next year, including the Football Ferns' third and final group stage match. 10 teams will be playing in the city over the duration of the tournament. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Dunedin City Council contractors have finally put in place the top section of a new set of stairs at St Clair Beach. Workers used this crane to lower the stairs onto the western end of the seawall, the location chosen to give surfers better access to the tide. The top section of the stairs is now in place after months of delays, blowing past the initial June deadline. The project is set to cost $230,000, with the lower section to be added later. The City Council says the stairs remain on budget and is confident the work will be completed by the end of October. A group of Dunedin construction workers have put their tools down for the day to give back to the community. The workers from Cook Brothers Construction are putting their stamp on the region, coming together to donate blood.
construction worker Stephen Jory anxiously waiting for his blood to be drawn. Around a dozen staff from Dunedin's company Cook Brothers Construction visiting Dunedin's Blood Service Centre this week to donate blood. It's just one of the measures the business has in place as a way of supporting their local region.
This is just part of that giving back to the community really where we work, and we hope to bring this out in other regions where we work.
The company also has branches in Queenstown, Christchurch and Auckland, and are hoping to eventually roll the initiative out across the country. The workers range from builders through to office staff and regional managers. All of the workers taking part this week were first-time donors, meaning a couple felt slightly uneasy.
Yeah, I am a wee bit nervous, yeah. But I've had, plenty of blood tests over the years, so I presume it's not going to be any more invasive than that, so we should be good.
But all the Cook Brothers workers from what they're calling Team Red came through unscathed. They're planning to continue supporting the Blood Centre in the future with regular donations. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A number of Otago Polytech students finally got the chance to don their graduation gowns for a parade through central Dunedin. More than 300 students took to Dunedin's main streets yesterday for a special one-off catch-up graduation ceremony. It was a sunny day for the traditional parade, which moved through George Street ahead of the formal part at the Dunedin Town Hall. Students appeared delighted to finally receive their degrees after postponements and cancellations due to COVID-19. This parade was the last under the Otago Polytech banner. Future students will receive their degrees from the new National Mega Polytechnic Te Pukenga. Whaiakane, still to come on the South Today. A near $250,000 art sculpture raises eyebrows outside Christchurch's new convention centre, and a veteran Maniatoto curler prepares for a big test overseas.
Wake up, Dunedin! My mate John's having a daylight savings sale. Daylight savings ends this weekend.
And my mate John.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Evening, I'm from the Parks Department. Have you got a permit for that fire?
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Christchurch's newest artwork is adding some reflective colour to Te Paia Christchurch Convention Centre. The giant $220,000 sculpture couldn't be installed until construction of the centre was completed.
Reflecting the light, this new piece moment of movement is turning heads in Christchurch. The city's newest artwork is a sculpture by New Zealand-Korean multimedia artist Sing Yong-oh.
Viewing without physical interaction, it is to give an opportunity for them to confronting something that is present.
Costing $220,000, the metallic-look sculpture has been installed on the Colombo Street side of Te Pae Convention Centre. The work was designed to complement the overall flowing nature of Te Pae's facade. But the installation of the Crown-funded artwork had to wait until the Convention Centre building was completed. It's made of fiberglass and was designed to reflect both the lights and sounds of the city during the day and night. In Christchurch, the South today.
A mini Otago curler is preparing to take his umpiring skills to Canada for a major tournament. Darren Carson is well respected in New Zealand's curling community. He's getting ready to head to the new Pan-Continental Curling Championships being held next month in Canada. Carson has an impressive and extensive CV, having worn the role of chief umpire in national competitions, along with officiating in Olympic and World Cup events, and he's looking forward to doing it all again.
It's been a long 3 years. I've been asked to go to different events in the last 3 years and just haven't been able to because of the COVID restrictions. You don't know if you can get back into the country or not, and it's going to be great to be able to do it again and meet your old friends and yeah, just get out there.
The former New Zealand representative is leaving his Naseby home ice next month, with the week-long tournament starting at the end of October. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Karen Peterson, the first ever Queen of the Alexandra Blossom Festival, looks back ahead of the event's return. Dunedin sports grounds are getting a $1.5 million boost ahead of next year's FIFA Women's World Cup. And Cook Brothers construction workers put down their tools for the day to donate their blood for the region. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the editor, Barry Stewart. Kia ora, Barry.
Hello, Hannah.
What's in the weekend paper?
Well, you've scooped me a little bit with the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Sorry about that. I'm sure you'll expand on it, won't you?
We will expand on it, but it's great news for the city, isn't it?
Yes.
The infrastructure that's going to be added to those sports grounds is good news for us. So,
yes.
Plus, we'll get to watch some fantastic football.
World-class.
So, win-win. Former Southern District Health Board may face prosecution about handling of a Dunedin woman taken to ICU who later died. So there's a case about that and a full in-depth story on that in the paper tomorrow. So have a look for that. And Queenstown, of course, when we're talking COVID and tourists and the oversupply and everything else, it's always been an issue. But it seems as though they may be getting what they wished for. So fewer tourists, but they're staying longer and spending more money.
Okay.
And of course, that was what was put out there some time ago, that would be the preferred option. So it looks like the latest stats we have, that's possibly coming true.
Fantastic.
So we'll see how that goes. Of course, immigration may change all that, and the backpackers will be back, and we'll go from there.
We'll have to
Just before we go,
we have to finish there. I'm so sorry.
Blossom Festival tomorrow.
Yes, it is, Alexandra. Thank you, Barry.
Bye-bye.
And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, rather cold this weekend as southerly airflow develops tomorrow and tends easterly on Sunday. Skies often mostly cloudy and a few showers at times on the east coast. Heading to the top of the South Island, fine with southwesterlies up in Nelson tomorrow with a high of 15. Light southeasterlies and cloud with 14 in Greymouth, and Christchurch is also heading for 14 with light winds during a cloudy day. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago now. Light winds and cloudy through here tomorrow with 14 in Ashburton, 15 in Timaru and the same in Oamaru with southwest winds and late showers. Westwards now to the Central Lakes. Cloudy with light winds through here across the long weekend. 13 in Wanaka and Queenstown, while Alex warms up to 14 degrees. Heading further south, a few showers and southerlies as we make our way through here tomorrow. Temperature-wise, just breaking into the double digits with 11-degree highs for Balclutha, Gore and the Catlins. Now down to the deep south. Cloud increasing tonight with westerlies in Invercargill and a low of 8. More cloud tomorrow with southerlies and showers in the afternoon, the high 11. Sunday's looking fine and sunny with southeasterlies and a high of 13 degrees. And lastly, heading to Dunedin. Some cloud tonight with nor'easterlies and a low of 6. Saturday shaping up to be a cloudy one with a chance of late showers and a high of 14. Into Sunday, morning showers, then an overcast day up to 14 degrees. Is it 14? 11 degrees rather, before a warmer day on Monday, rounding off the long weekend with Queen Elizabeth II Memorial Day. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can also catch repeat screenings of our 2 Dunedin mayoral forums on Saturday night from 7 p.m. Our Dunedin, Invercargill and Queenstown mayoral shows can be viewed online as well via the ODT website. But coming up after the break is this week's edition of Global Insight, where Professor Patman, Robert Patman that is, discusses whether Russian President Vladimir Putin will use nuclear force in Ukraine. We'll see you again on Tuesday. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.